There comes a moment in every healing journey where you have to decide, will this diagnosis define me or will this be the thing that wakes me up? If you've ever felt trapped between fear, exhaustion, symptom management, and the quiet hope that maybe your body is capable of more, this conversation is for you. Welcome back to the Health Bridge podcast. I'm your host, Holly B. I help women with lupus and chronic illness reconnect to their bodies, calm the chaos of autoimmunity, and build a bridge back to energy, purpose, and hope through holistic healing and mindset work. Today, I'm joined by Karen ZuZu Arms, a holistic health educator and speaker who has spent decades helping people understand the deeper connections between the nervous system, cellular health, environment, stress, and chronic illness after reversing her own epilepsy and arthritis naturally. This conversation goes far beyond symptom management. We dive into nervous system overload, identity and illness, neuroplasticity, environmental toxicity, emotional healing, and what it really means to reclaim your power in a world that constantly pulls you into survival mode. By the end of this episode, you'll walk away with a completely different perspective on healing and a reminder that your diagnosis does not have to become your identity. Stick around because we're answering the question, what becomes possible when we stop living in survival mode and start creating an environment where the body can finally heal? ZuZu, welcome to the program. I have a funny story to share that I didn't share with you before while we were chit-chatting. When I first had you come across my inbox as a potential guest, I was like, ZuZu, that is my absolute favorite restaurant back home in Napa. So I was like, I have to have her on, obviously.
Good. I actually owned a ZuZu's Organic Cafe. We had that in Wisconsin for several years. So that's really fun. I'm glad your restaurant was a ZuZu. This is great.
I love it. I love it. So, ZuZu, you've been in the holistic health world as a practitioner for, I don't know, 30 or more years. You've got tons of experience under your belt. What I love is that you bring the scientific side into it, and you're not just approaching things from a woo-woo perspective. And I think that's extremely important, especially when we're talking with women about autoimmune conditions.
Yeah.
The fear of that diagnosis and what that means is huge. And the label of this is a forever thing, this is a chronic thing, all we can do is symptom manage is also very overwhelming. And I know you have a lot of experience in this world, so I'd like you to just take that wherever you want to start.
Sure. Well, I am 58 and 40 years ago this year, right? So that's like 40 years ago. I can't even imagine like being alive for 40 years. I'm 58 years old, but anyhow, I feel so good. But 40 years ago, I had my first green drink and I was like, this is tasty. I was actually at a college and I was studying radio and TV broadcasting. I'm going to be on the radio or I'm going to be on the TV, right? I didn't like at all. The people involved in that, oh my gosh, run the other way. But anyhow, well, I'm sure there's some good ones out there, but so much drama. Anyhow, and so I'm in this college and the dean of my school was amazing. And I was taking all these communicative, classes on presenting and speeches. And he was putting on a telethon and he's like, hey, you sing. Why don't you do our opening act and our closing act for this telethon? And it was for muscular dystrophy. So that's kind of where I was like, oh, so what's going on with that? I had epilepsy. I grew up with epilepsy. So ring a bell, have a seizure, super fun on a date. And I got rid of my epilepsy because of this introduction to this gentleman and for me going to this college. Because he took me home to practice. He played the piano incredibly. I've never met somebody more talented at the piano. And his wife had like 12 kids. So the age difference was huge, right? They're like 80 something right now, 88, 89. And so we just clinched, like his wife and I, her name is Margaret. And we just became really good friends. And she started teaching me about planting and about herbs and she'd have, a little apothecary up on her cupboard. And it was just really something I stuck with. So out of all my years at college, I actually took that as my biggest takeaway was, wow, I after a couple of years of drinking green drinks, I was like, I'm going to do this until I'm old, like 60 or 50, right? And I'm going to be on a stage and tell people it works because I actually believe this can work. And then I just started learning how the body worked. And I was able to, reverse my epilepsy. Actually, just 6 years ago, 5 and 6 years ago, I reversed my scoliosis, and I reversed all the inflammation and arthritis around the scoliosis. That only took a year, by the way. So all those of you who are thinking, I'm plagued with arthritis, no, get over that. There's things you can do to get rid of it, and I can share that with anybody. But it was really fascinating because as I was able to help myself, people started asking questions, and I started doing research. And back then, there was no World Wide Web, which was great because then I wouldn't be distracted looking at all of the billions of things you can look at in a minute. And this is important. I want to come back to this for all of you because you are so distracted with social media. You cannot focus on healing. You can't. Your body can never be in fight or flight and in healing. You can't. You can never be in the same boat. You can't. They are two separate boats in the brain and in the body. So we'll come back to that because you're dealing with autoimmune disorders and cancers and whatever else you're dealing with. And so it was really powerful because I was able to help so many people with headaches and allergies and X, Y, and elemental P's. And so I opened up a store, a little health food store, and we started selling supplements. And then I was like, well, you can't heal just with supplements. You need food. So of course we opened up the first 100% non-GMO organic grocery store in Wisconsin. There was another GMO-free grocery store, but they weren't always organic. And so it was really cool because in the middle of nowhere, our city had 400 people living in it. We were in a farm field called Neno, Wisconsin. Look it up, Nenno. The biggest thing in Neno is also the wedding gardens, which we started as well, because how am I going to finance living? I was a single mom with 5 kids. And so I needed a way to make money and not just play, helping people. So it was really interesting because people kept getting well. People would they'd come to me because they couldn't get pregnant. And I'd do all my research, I'd give them all these herbs, and then boom, the first time I helped someone get pregnant, which I know sounds really weird, but you know what I mean? It was a week before Mother's Day, and this woman had come in probably 3 or 4 months earlier in long stringy hair, very plain clothing. They had spent $100 and some thousand trying to have a baby. They had given up. I was the last resort, which I think I should have named. Maybe I should change the name for Lily Fields, our retreat center, to the last resort. I don't know. But she came and I literally, she had no money. I went to my own family storage and I pulled out bags of raspberry tea and all these different herbs. And she came in a week before Mother's Day that year. It was 2009. And she came in and she showed me her pregnancy tests. I just got another one a couple weeks ago. It's like, that is so satisfying. And it's not that I'm doing anything. It's that I'm able to educate. And if I can educate someone as to how the body works and they get inspired enough to make changes, like that is the best moment ever. And I know before we started the interview, I'm like, well, this is what happened today, right? We have the retreat. I was at Krav Maga. We had all these things happening. My favorite part of the day, though, is to do a podcast because if I can share something I've learned and I've been able to help other people incorporate and it changes one person's life, I'm here for you. Like, we're all about the one. And so it's been an incredible journey. And the biggest thing I can tell everybody listening is there is so much hope for you to have a better tomorrow. There is so much hope for you to get well. You just haven't been told that enough yet or given the steps because there's no money in healthy people. And it's much easier to give you a label and you're just going to be like this for a long time. And I will gladly tell you that that is very untrue. Branch.
Yes. Yes. I have so many things going on in my mind about what you said. First off, just to go back to the raspberry leaf, that was, one of the first herbal allies that I had in herb school. And it's like with the pregnancy issue, and I know this is separate from autoimmune, but with the pregnancy issue, there's so many women that are having a hard time getting pregnant and they're really told that the only thing available to them is to keep trying these more and more like invasive and expensive treatments. And it's like, well, have you tried raspberry tea? Have you tried looking at, how are you nourishing yourself? What's your stress level? Like, there's a lot of things that we can work on here that are affecting your ability to get pregnant. So thank you for doing that.
Amen.
Yes.
I often think about parables. Like, I love the fact that the Bible, whether you read it or not, it's got a lot of phenomenal parables. And I call them parallels as well, because it's exactly like it. And the one where it's like, here, just go dip yourself 7 times in the sea. And they're like, oh yeah, whatever. And, in the water, and like, yeah, whatever. Like, that's going to work, Don't look back at you'll turn into a pillar of salt. Yeah, right. Like, I'm going to turn into a pillar. Like, it's so simple that they just are like, oh yeah, like that's what we're going to, and I'm like, no, it really is simple. And if we think about the fact that we are created from dust, like we are nothing, like We're alive because of a spirit of energy, right? We're alive because of atoms and the electrons that are sharing electrons and bonding with other electrons. And like we're a living creature because we have a breath of life in us. And to think that there isn't an answer on the earth that we came from, like, guys, hello, you weren't born into a pharmaceutical parking lot or McDonald's parking lot, right? Or in a Target or Walmart to eat their crappy crap like food. Like we weren't. We were born in a garden. We were born on an earth that was full of vegetation. No animal could live here without vegetation, just like no people can live here healthy without vegetation. So you're darn right, no matter what you're dealing with, you are going to go to vegetation. I mean, unless you have SIBO, then we're going to lay off on the fiber until we get that fixed. Like 99.9% of all of you are simply mineral deficient because 100% of disease is two things. It is a nervous system disorder and it is a mineral disorder. Now you can capitulate onto all that. Like we can add all sorts of things to that, but the actual reason you're ill is because your nervous system has whacked out, right, from 1,000 different reasons, and you're mineral deficient, and you don't have enough minerals to actually correct what is going on in the body. And I know that sounds really simple when you're like, oh my gosh, Karen, but I have EDS and I've got this and I've, all these autoimmune disorders and blah, blah. I know. I just want you to hear it because I'm not a plumber and I'm not an electrician. And I know a lot about electricity, but don't hire me to, electrify your house, right? I don't fix cars, but I do help the body. And I've been able to watch what you might consider miracles happen. I love miracles. I believe in miracles, but I also believe in order. And when things are set up in the body in order, when you have the building blocks you need to create antibodies, to create a healthy cell and healthy tissue, to restore the nervous system's health, now you're talking. Now you have some healing, but you will not heal if you're in fight or flight and your sympathetic autonomic system is ruling the day. You will only heal in parasympathetic. When you relax, you have vision, you have confidence, you can then start healing. And that's probably the biggest problem we have in America right now, or the world, is people are stuck in sympathetic. They're stuck in fight or flight because there's so much to do and they're so anxious and they got to go to piano lessons. They got to get their kids to this. They got to do this. They got to take their medication at 5 and then 10 and 4 and see all night long, right? They have so much they have to do. And oh my gosh, they got to check their phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I'm like, did you hear about tomorrow? Yeah. It's like, so we're so strung out that we'll never heal. So that's my introduction into the top reasons we need to address the nervous system and eat more vegetables because we need to balance our electricity in our body.
Hey, I just wanted to jump in here and interrupt the program for just a hot minute. You know that I'm so passionate about this podcast, but what I'm also really passionate about is helping women with lupus minimize their symptoms, boost their energy so that they can indulge in life again. So if you are a woman who is struggling with lupus, who is sick and tired of being sick and tired, who's struggling to manage your flares, if you're finding that your lupus symptoms are just really getting in the way of you being able to live your life the way you want to, I feel you. I've been there myself and I felt the same way. And what I've found is that there are a certain set of health fundamentals that once applied will support you in your foundational health. They will support you in building and maintaining that energy, minimizing flares, and allowing you to again indulge in life and follow your passions. So, if that is something that you are interested in creating for yourself, let's jump on a call together. I will walk you through the process that I use with my clients to get them from sick and tired to strong foundation of health by implementing my Health Bridge protocol. If this is something you're interested in chatting more about, I would love to talk to you. Apply for a free clarity call with me, and I look forward to getting to know you soon. And now back to the episode. Oh my gosh, there's so many things I want to say. I talk about this a lot with the getting out of the fight or flight because you, like you just said, you literally can't heal when you're in fight or flight. I think one of the issues is that we're so used to that pace that we don't even realize we're in fight or flight.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not,
you're
you know,
no,
there's
because your brain is literally firing like that all the time. It is your comfort zone, even though that's not a comforting zone to be in. Like we are so addicted to stress and addicted to dopamine and addicted to that we literally have inflammation in that part of the brain. And people don't realize that is literally brain mapping. You can see the inflammation. And so when you realize it, and right now, 100% of people listening to this, you can change the state of your brain right now. You can take 4 deep breaths in, and you can think about the way you always go regarding any one of the issues you're dealing with, and you can go a different way. You can start thinking the other way. You can walk out the back door today when you're going to take the dogs for a walk. You can change where the silverware is in your kitchen. You can move your bed to a new position. You can do so many things to start getting you out of the rut of being stuck over here, that it's going to be exciting for you. So that's with autoimmunity, which I will tell you, I don't like saying this, but we actually consider autoimmunity much harder than cancer to get rid of or to bring under control. Don't worry, we see it happen all the time. Like, and I hate to be so blunt, but I often ask people, oh, you've got MS. Do you want that? Like, is that your identity or not? Oh, fibromyalgia. Do you want that? Or is that your identity or not? So the number one thing to do, all of you, is to go, this is not my identity. Yep, I'm type 1 diabetic. Yep, I got this going on with my thyroid. Yep, yep, yep. But is that your identity? Has it become your identity? And I'm so sad to say that at least half of the people that come to see me with an autoimmune disorder, it is their identity, and they won't follow up anymore because they're very comfortable getting what they need and add their program. And it's really, I hate to say that, but it is true. So if you are looking to just deal with your autoimmunity, you probably don't want to listen to the rest of this, right? Because that shouldn't be your identity. And I want to wake that up. I want to awaken that spirit in you to go, this is not my identity. I taught these disease prevention summits. I got to do them again. They were so much fun. But I taught a disease prevention summit, and everybody who came, I gave them a hello, my name is, and then they would be hello, my name is, and they put their name on it. And then after the 4 hours, I would pull up a screen and it said, hello, my name is fibromyalgia. Hello, my name is cancer for the 4th time. Hello, my name is reoccurring alcohol. Hello, my name is living at my mom's basement, blah, 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 all these different things, right? I'm like, so what is your name? Like, who are you? And it was really exciting because one client I'd worked with who had severe health issues came to a meeting like that, a disease prevention summit, and then came to another 2 years later. And she had done tremendous work. She had gotten apples or organthal. She had done a lot of the modalities that we needed to do to help her heal, right? And she was doing phenomenal, back to teaching, just feeling incredible. And when she came in, this is so cool. She grabbed her little name tag and she wrote, it was hello, my name is, and she said, not this, all the things that she was. She goes, my name is, boom. And I was like, what an impact, because she gave up those definitions and she became alive again. But that was work, and she wanted to do it.
and we have to get to the point where we want to do it.
Yeah.
And we have to get to the point where we're ready to let go of those labels. I think in the beginning of our health journeys, finally finding the label is a little bit freeing. It's like, okay, I know what's going on with me now. But the danger is it's easy to latch onto it. And I certainly did. I mean, I certainly was like, my lupus, my chronic fatigue, my this, my that, as if they were like part of my family or part of my, innate personality. And it's like when I finally started learning that I could change the thoughts I was having, when I could catch the words that were coming out of my mouth or through my mind to describe things in my life, that was where everything started to shift. And I'm not saying it was an overnight immediate thing. But it changed the trajectory. And you brought up parallels in the Bible earlier, and I'm now learning, because I've been studying neuroplasticity for a long time, but now I'm learning that's all laid out in the Bible. And I find that fascinating.
Yeah, I wish we had everything. We don't. We have these 66 books, and I'm zero fan of James, anyhow, King James, or really a lot of the historians that quote unquote put the Bible together, because there's so much that you've not been told. I studied religion in college, so I can say that. But anyhow, what I do want to say is, yes, there's so much laid out, and it's just incredible history. And it is incredible when we can take that bird's eye view and we can understand more about how the body works. And it is all right there. It is all right there. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm also really glad you brought up the labels. The labels can help you. They can free you. Okay, I'm not the only person with this. And then immediately we got to go, okay, what am I going to do about this? Because I have type 1 diabetics who don't ever take insulin anymore. They don't take insulin anymore. I know a gentleman who has type 1 diabetes, never took insulin. He went right to fixing his liver. And he takes a liver protocol every single day, which is oregano and marjoram, a whole bunch of herbs. Anyhow, and he's never had insulin, right? I know people with MS who do not live with MS anymore, period. No medications, no nothing. They are doing well. So I can sit here and tell you, but it started up here for everybody. It came where focus goes, energy flows. So it came from not living in the dramatic dopamine overstimulated state, and you're so distracted with everything, the politics and oh my gosh, now they're giving complete immunity to Monsanto, ag glyphosate. It's like, like you can get so caught up in things we really cannot do anything about, right? The chemtrails, aliens, like whatever else they're going to throw at us, right? Just to keep us, literally keep us in this stressed out state, because you can't do anything about that. But we'll spend hours a day learning more about the stressed out things going on. But that takes all of our power away. We're not standing in our power. Now we're standing in some social media goddess power, and we're giving them all the power. We're giving them our power. And then we're so weak. How are you going to go make dinner and heal, right? How are we going to go make dinner and heal? So if we can start turning off this dopamine addiction, jump out of plane instead, that'd be more fun. But anyhow, and start going over to, okay, I am actually going to work on my health issues, because I can't change any of this. I can change this. This will empower me, because when I'm in my power and I don't have to take medication 16 times a day, and I got to watch every single thing I eat, and I got to blah, 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 right? When we're not all about the stress, then we can start to heal. And it was really cool when I became a holistic healthcare practitioner. Probably one of my favorite things I learned about, obviously, was a cell. So I'm all about cells. My whole book is about cells. I just love how cells function. They just kiss them. And so those cells, the biggest thing with the cell is it cannot grow and divide into a healthy state if you're in stress. It can't. As a matter of fact, one healthy cell will grow and divide into 2 healthy cells. Those 2 healthy cells will grow and divide into 2 more. So we'll have 4 healthy cells, and then 8 healthy cells, and 16 healthy cells, right? A sick cell will do the same thing. So if you have a sick cell and you have a sick environment, I call it the lazy river of the bloodstream, then you're going to have 2 sick cells, and then 4 sick cells, and then 8 sick cells. So what are you doing to change the environment? I don't know. What are you doing right now? What are you drinking? What are you going to have for lunch? What are you going to have for dinner? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to change the lazy river, which is providing all of those cells healthy nutrients or bad crap? Because your cell is going to grow into a healthy state or a crappy state, depending on what we're eating, drinking, putting on our skin, and thinking. We have so much power to start the day over. We have so much power to stop taking and owning that autoimmune disorder label. And I'll share a story with you. My daughter, Lily, she's my youngest daughter. We knew something was not right when she was about 6 months old, but she was adorable and cute, and she dresses adorable. You want to kiss her every time you see her. But she started getting really sick. And when she was 12, she became bedridden, and her stomach would stop churning. Her throat would stop. She'd stop swallowing. She stopped breathing. It was just awful, right? We spent 4.5 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to figure out what was going on. What was going on with Lily, right? We had no idea. And it wasn't until the 4th year that I heard the word dysautonomia. Looked that up, and that was just a death sentence. There's no cure for that. I'm like, wait a minute. I teach 120 modalities of natural healing. Now that I have a name, I can figure this out. And I did. I've written a book on it. And POTS, EDS, all of those. It's not autoimmunity. This is this dysautonomia, which is it's a dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system. And so anyhow, she's doing great. Got married. She's a flourish. She's absolutely adorable. She'll always have dysautonomia. But we know exactly how to treat it so she can live a normal life, right? Almost normal life. And so that label for you as someone who has an autoimmune disorder, great. Now you know what you have. Let's get rid of it. Okay, let's fix this. Okay, let's get to everyone listening. You need to go to an acupuncturist. I don't care if you don't like them or not. Go and get dolphin therapy. Dolphin therapy, you can even buy, do it yourself. It's needless acupuncture. But like you need acupuncture. 100% of the people listening need two things, an acupuncturist and a chiropractor. Your nervous system is controlling all what's going on in your body. Your nervous system controls the endocrine system. Your nervous system controls reproductive. Your nervous system controls every system of the body. So we need to address it. And the top ways to do that is acupuncture. Hello, 5,000 years of experience. They know a lot. And well, I doubt your acupuncturist is 5,000 years old, but they're learning from people who've been doing it for 5,000 years. And then your spinal nerve system, the 31 sets of nerves that come out of the brain and go down the spine. Those are crucial. So I think the label is really good. And it is like, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm not crazy, right? Finally, Lily had a name because she didn't have an autoimmune disorder and she didn't have this and she didn't have that. That's what we spent so much money, eliminating those thoughts. When we knew it, now we know what we could focus on. And I just wish no one ever had to go through that. That was really hard, but
It is hard, and that's what, my journey was. I mean, it took years from the mono Epstein-Barr trigger to the chronic fatigue, years after that, that I finally was diagnosed with lupus. And that's I think it's 7 years is the average amount of time it takes to actually get a diagnosis. And there's reasons for that. I'm not saying it's 100% Western medicine's fault that they're just not willing to give a diagnosis. You have to meet lots of criteria and, they can't really step outside of that box.
right.
And things don't always present clearly for a long time. So, there's lots of reasons for that. But I think that, once I finally got that diagnosis, everybody's like, "Oh, that must have been, devastating." And for me, I was like, well, no, I was like, "Cool, I have lupus,
That's
like,
right.
I
Well,
finally know what's
I
going on. Now I can figure out the right path to treating it," you know? And at first,
yeah.
that still took a long time because I was sort of doing it on my own for still many years, but
Makes
anyhow oh, what was I gonna say about that? I totally lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
My mind just went blank, but that's alright. That's just
Well,
part of it.
I
That's where
I'm just proud of you. You didn't stay in victim mode. That's the big thing. There's the victim, there's the hero, and there's the villain. And you didn't stay in victim. And that's why you're still doing podcasts and why you're teaching and influencing so many people because you're not a victim of this. You're like, okay, this is what I did. I'm going to help people who need that. Right. So you've kept out of victim. And I think that is why you've been able to heal and keep up with what you were doing. Lily got out of victim, right? I think when we have things that are wrong with us, we can go down into the victim and blame COVID, which obviously everyone knows by now, the COVID jabs causes an incredible amount of autoimmune disorders, period. We know that. The magazines are coming out with it. We know that. That science is rock solid.
I'm
So
like,
we
"Can
know
you
that.
say that again a little louder?"
That's right. Hello. And so, whatever. So get on some good enzymes, guys. You got to get all those spike proteins and everything else that they stuck in you. But anyhow, but we at least have an ability now to go, okay, I did have the COVID jabs. Okay, you can't blame your genes because usually 90% of anything that your genes cause can be reversed with food and diet and exercise. I was just genes don't just sporadically turn on in the body. Like just they're influenced by the genetic environment, right? So epigenetic is everything above the gene. That's what influences. You can smell certain flowers when you're pregnant and you can determine if you're having a boy or a girl. Like literally genes are influenced by your environment. So remember that. That means that if you're like, okay, well, I have MS. Okay, well, 89 to 90% of that you can actually flip with food and diet and eating and drinking and different things. So we also can't go into I'm a victim of a genes. No one can say that. I can't believe how many millions of breasts were incarcerated, right? All incinerated because someone had a BRCA1, BRCA2 gene. And I'm like, oh, stop taking your breasts off your body, you guys. You can turn the gene off with sprouts or with, there's so many ways to turn off the genes. And so I think that that's empowering. So for those of you who may have fallen into victimhood, totally understand. Hello, I was there. I was there when my daughter was really sick. And I was like, how could this be happening? This is what I do for a living and I can't figure this out. So I can understand being in victimhood, but you can't live in that. Lily couldn't, I couldn't, Holly couldn't. Like we all need to really grab, a hold of hope and live without that victimhood, which is easy to get into.
It is, and it's a process, and we can still get pulled into it, but the point is learning the tools to pull yourself back out of it and to recognize it when you're doing it.
Mhm.
And that is where the power is. That is where your autonomy is, I think, in your healing process. I love that you brought up acupuncture. I love that you brought up chiropractic. I am a chiropractic assistant and
Oh,
since
good.
yeah, and I work with a chiropractor who does applied kinesiology, so even more of an intuitive um,
Yes.
take on it. And I do believe that that was a huge part of me getting towards remission, in addition to all the other things that I do on a daily basis and all the mindset work and all the, whatever supplements I am taking, whatever food I am eating, all of those things come together. But being in alignment and using that as a preventative, not just as a, oh, I tweaked my neck.
Yeah, no, yes,
Let
I
me go
will
get
once it
cracked a couple
cures.
times. Yeah, it's hugely powerful, and acupuncture as well. I do wanna talk about the other outside influences. I know EMFs is a big thing that you discussed,
Yeah.
frequency medicine. Let's get into that discussion and how that can be impacting the toxic load.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. In our clinic, we see a lot of mold and a lot of Lyme right now, very active. Now, you can all have been bit by a tick and never have Lyme or never have it active. Remember that bacterias and viruses are opportunistic. That means they hide in adipose tissue and they hide in the body until an opportune time. So if you get really stressed out or you get sick with something else, then this virus or this bacteria might come out and play. So we see a lot of dormant Lyme and then a lot of active Lyme. But what's interesting is like mold, and there's a lot of mold going on right now. It is triggered and made worse by EMFs. So and Lyme is also, and so you really need to be aware of your environment. So being aware that electromagnetic frequencies, they're all different. So 1G is different than 2G, different 3, different 4, different 5. But they're on number 6. I think that's half our country, I think, right now, but we don't know it. Anyhow, all of these different frequencies that we're being exposed to, a lot more. And when you're holding your phone, there's a lot more than just a frequency coming off the phone. Every app has its own frequency. On your computer, the little clock in the corner, that's vibrating at the same frequency as candida, like also what makes it grow in your body. There's just so many frequencies, right? We have dirty electricity in the walls of our home. We used to have linear electricity. Now we have non-linear electricity. So you're paying a lot more for your electricity every time you put in a CFL light bulb, but that's what they tell you to buy because they want your money. But anyhow, so like all these things, smart blenders and smart dishwashers and smart washers and dryers, all of those are dangerous. All of them have routers. All of them are telling and the companies how much electricity you're using, so you can know when the refrigerator's been open and when it's closed, and if the garage door goes up or goes down. The smart meter on the outside of your home. Electricity is everywhere. That's why I'm trying to paint this picture. It is everywhere and it's getting worse. Data centers, oh, good gracious me. Like, don't even get me going, right? So we're in a very toxic electrical load all of the time. So what can we do besides go buy 69 acres, and start homesteading? We can build the resilience and the strength of our cells. That's the number one thing we can do. Number two, this probably be number one. Number two, turn everything off, right? Like we need to build the health of our cells. We need to turn things off. Just like the number one way to detoxify the body is stop putting toxins in. You can't be like, eating Cheerios and just was awful. You can't be eating all these toxic foods, right? Like Doritos and you name it, crackers and chips and modified everything. And you can't eat those things and then go on a detox program and think it's like going to save you. Like it's not. Like you're still eating that. You got to stop putting the food colorings in. You got to stop. Like you got to make some changes to what you're eating, and then you can detoxify better. Same thing with EMFs. So if you have a router in your home, go get a little Christmas tree timer. Like go get a timer and turn it off at 8 at night. Turn it on. Turn it off when you're not using it. Have your neighbors turn theirs off so not radiating you if you're in an apartment building. But like look for ways to control the time that you're exposed to EMFs, the distance you are from your EMFs. This is hardly ever in a pocket, only when I'm walking from here to my center, right? And so the distance And look about shielding, learn about shielding. I will tell you, there is no one, right? You can't like go get a little thing and put it on your phone and be like, oh yeah, I'm totally safe because I have this little thing and it's blocking my EMFs. Oh, really? I know. You can't do that because if it actually blocked EMFs, there'd be no one to talk to you because you wouldn't have reception. But you can get little discs that can change the subtle organizing energy fields of your cells. There are things you can do, but shielding is huge. Shielding, shielding, shielding. And I have whole presentations on that. And then nutrition. So time, distance, shielding, and nutrition. And the nutrition to build up your cells, the health of your cells is number one, healthy fats. No seed oils, healthy fats, right? But number two, like spirulina, chlorella, iodine. There's a bunch of superfoods that are really good at strengthening the cell matrix so that those EMFs don't hurt you as much. You can also get a lot of plants. I do live in a jungle. If you walk to my home, you'd be like, is there room for another plant? Yes, there's room. Always room. Anyhow, but like, because a lot of these plants suck up EMFs. That's why they grow so fast. If you have a cat, cats love EMFs. Wherever that cat goes all the time, is the worst place in your house for EMFs. So like we can find ways to protect ourselves from EMFs. We can wear tachyon necklaces and earrings. I actually almost always have them on, but because of my very crazy morning, I jumped out of the sauna and shower right to this. So I didn't put my earrings on yet, but anyhow, but like there are so many things that we can do to strengthen our bodies. We actually have capacitors in the walls of our home and our wellness center, the buildings on our property, because capacitors eliminate dirty electricity.
Really quick, Holly B here. I just wanted to interrupt the podcast to ask you for a quick favor. Can you take just a moment to like and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you are listening in on? It makes a world of a difference. And the reach of this podcast, it takes like literally under 10 seconds. So go do that right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And now back to the episode.
They eliminate the transients in the home. And solar is dangerous, period. I don't care if you sell solar and you put solar on your home, solar's not safe. It's not safe. It causes an incredible amount of dirty electricity, like off the charts. Solar and windmills. If you live anywhere near a windmill, sell your home. That's all I can tell you because there's no way to get away from it. Now with solar, I do believe they started making capacitors you can put, like, so if you take your solar and you put it out away from your home, you can have a substation of a capacitor and then it helps. But the dirty electricity in homes from solar and from windmills is terrible, but just the dirty electricity from all your CFL everything and all your smart everything, all the nonlinear loads is really harmful. And when we realize it, it can change our life. I own a book. It's out of print. It's worth way too much money for me to even bring out of my safe anymore. But it has all the studies done, or many, many studies done in the early 1900s, because the naval academies and the militaries and the colleges around the world, like multiple languages, did these studies. Because there are people that were in radar towers, when they started flying airplanes and our military using radar, over the war, everything, they were getting really sick because it was EMF poisoning. And guess what? It causes anxiety, depression, irritability, loss of eyesight, loss of hearing, just like every major thing we're dealing with right now is caused by pulsing technology. Matter of fact, they even proved that a cancer cell grows over 1,000 times faster. It's like 1,642, something like that, faster when exposed to pulsing technology. Well, what do you think is happening in your body if you're living with autoimmune disorder? You already have issues because our cells, right? The cells are attacking healthy tissue. The last thing we need is to generate all this electricity to cause that to happen faster. It's pulsing technology. It makes everything go faster in the body. If you've ever felt like you're charged, right? Like you're just, right? That's not you. That's electricity in your home and your walls, like all around you. And so just understanding time, distance, shielding, and nutrition, understanding that the smart meter is actually dangerous, make sure it's not on the outside of your bedroom or your kitchen or where you're always at, and get a smart guard. Understanding there's things that we can do to strengthen our bodies, really super important, because that will help us create a healthier cell context. So watching what we eat and drink, watching the electricity that we're in all the time, very, very important. Very, very, very important. These are really, and then our brain, like how we're thinking, if we reroute our thinking from drama and, in sympathetic state, and we start learning and growing, we're going to have more energy and more blood flow going to that part of our body, part of our brain. So that's today, all of you can change. Like today, everyone listening can make changes. We can drink healthier things. We can do water instead of all the crappy coffee from drive-in places, right? We can eliminate toxins in some of our food. We can go with more organic foods. So it's the biggie, 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 biggie. Insecticides are designed to kill the living nervous system of an insect. Pesticides kill the living nervous system of a pet. Larvicide kill the living nervous system of a larvae, right? Herbicides kill the living nervous system of a plant. If you have any kind of autoimmune disorder, any kind of nervous system disorder, why would you put anything in your body that destroys the living nervous system? Because you have one, and it will affect you. It is not designed only to kill an insect, and it won't affect you at all. Like, get over that. That's what they're going to tell you and try to sell you on. And I'm here, no, that's not true. Those are the side dishes, insecticide, pesticide. Those are side dishes. You don't need them. Go organic, and don't ever eat a strawberry, even if it's organic. But anyhow, unless you in your backyard. So like, there's so much power. There's so much power that we have right now. But it's just, we need to reset our thinking to believe we can do better. We can do better tomorrow. I mean, I promise you can. I promise you can do better tomorrow. You can. You're human. You have a heart, you have a soul, you have a brain, you have a mind. This is resonating with you. This is inspiring. Watch it again. But like, this is what you were designed to do. You were not designed to die of an autoimmune disorder. You weren't. You're in this position. And yes, we can go into blame, and I can talk all about everything that's happening in the world that's causing it. Or we can stand up and go, I'm not going to give my power away anymore to those labels. And I'm not going to give my power away to all the doctors and all people telling me this is how it's going to be the rest of my life. I'm not going to do that. I didn't. When we found out what was wrong with Lily, you're damn right. I wasn't going to give any more power away. I'd already given away 4.5 years of my life, most of her life. I wasn't going to give any more power to that. I was going to find the answer. And damn, I did. Pardon my language, but it's true. So you cannot think that there's no answer. You can't. That's done. That thinking is done. Put it to bed.
Thank you. I feel like we could close right there, but the new day, new choices. I believe in that so much because we're all still human. We can know all the things and we can still have a day where we go down the rabbit hole for whatever reason. We're just not feeling positive. We eat the wrong food choices. We don't do our grounding. We, go down that rabbit hole and we feel like crap and we don't sleep well. And the next morning we can be like, you know what? I'm going to make a better choice today. And you can
Yes.
just be one. You can just start with one better choice. You can just start with cleaner water, or you can just start with one more, vegetable or high quality fat or high quality protein. Like it
Yep.
doesn't need to be a life overhaul all at once because that is never sustainable. But having grace with yourself through that process is
Yes.
what's going to get you through.
Can I share something, Holly? This just came to me for this audience, for this I've never read this online at all, but we have a group that meets every other Sunday. There's a small group of us that just we don't associate with religion, but we do associate with God and community. So we have this Sunday night live that we host through One United Outreach. And this past Sunday, I spoke on surrendering. Because I actually went through a really hard time. I let go of someone who was working for us for the last year because I just couldn't, we could not make it work. We couldn't. And I love this person and I love this person. But you can love someone and not be able to work with them. And it had really taken a toll on my heart because it was situational and it was just really sad. And I really was having a hard time going through what the aftermath of what happened from this. And so I spoke on surrendering. And on Monday or Wednesday, I got this text. It was Wednesday at 9:00. I woke up. I woke up earlier than that. Anyhow, but I read this text from one of our other ministers, and I want to read it because I think it can help all of you. Have you surrendered this week? Have you shut and closed your will, the people that do not align with your purpose and or your frustrations? Have you surrendered those to the Father, the Creator? I want to encourage you all today to keep trying. In those moments of being overwhelmed, in those moments of frustration, try to remember to surrender to God. Surrender your emotions, let go of the anger, let go of the bitterness and the frustration, and just trust in Him. As you surrender, listen for His voice he will guide you. And I had read that several times on Wednesday. And then I went to my bedroom and I just prayed out loud, like loudly, because I had to surrender all of these built up emotions, all these things that were keeping me in sympathetic state. And my brain was always going over to, did I do the right thing? And blah, 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 all the questioning, all the drama that consumed my life for a week. And I surrendered it all to God. And I'm telling you, that was amazing. I was like, back in my power. I woke up. I mean, it was within an hour. I just felt all empowered again. Sometimes we do need to let go and just give it away. So if you are at that point, listeners, where you're like, I do want to give this up, this identity, I want to just give it away. You have a God who will take it. You have a God. You have family. You have friends. You have Holly here every week, every 3 weeks to celebrate with you and help you. So I don't know. I just found that really helpful, and surrendering my will and my worries to God was just, it was life changing, and it really helped me get back on my feet again. So it happens to all of us. It really, really does.
And I see a big pattern too with women with autoimmune, that we take things on and we hold it in. And that's a pattern I am still very much working on breaking or shifting. But that was definitely has been part of my story. I take everything on, I hold it in. I have a very hard time speaking what I'm feeling and speaking what needs to be said in certain situations. And so I would invite that for our listeners to really listen to what you just said, Zuzu, about the surrender. And it can just be alone in your bedroom. Like you said, it's not like we have to take this out to the public. We don't have to make some big declaration to this person or that person. It can start, just even if you can't speak it, you can just write it in a journal and
Mhm.
just start to get it out and just
Mhm.
start that surrendering process.
Love it.
Karen, Zuzu, is there any last thoughts that you want to leave with our listeners?
Mm.
I mean, I think you
Well,
did, but
probably just to remember that there are people who love your guts. You may just not know them. There are people who do love others and will help you. You may didn't find them all yet, but there are people who love you, and it's going to be hard for them to love you if you don't love yourself. So really starting with self-talk and self-awareness and self-focus, and then what you literally do for you matters. And so if you're a busy mom or a busy wife or wherever you're at, start serving you a little bit too. Make sure you take time to help you. And if you only focus on you because of your illness, then I'm really encouraging you to focus outward. Start writing sticky notes that are full of love and excitement for those in your home. Like, start sending messages to other people, because as you lift others, you will rise. That is just Mother Nature. It is just frequencies. And so the higher you rise and the higher the vibration you can pull your being into, the better people you're going to meet. So you don't want to spiral down, you want to spiral up. And you can do that starting today with yourself and with those around you.
that hit my heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are doing some amazing things on your farm. Please tell our listeners where they can find you and about your courses and every amazing thing that you have going on.
Well, the biggest thing we do is educate. We love education, and we have an online educational platform. My first graduates graduated in 2010. Now our programs are available in 100 languages all over the world. But it's a very beautiful community. We have probably a third of our students are medical, doctors and nurses, because we teach what Western medicine doesn't teach. However, and my daughter graduated from Johns Hopkins. We know all this. We know what's going on. And we have so many doctor friends that we love. But it's really been cool because we have 16-year-olds and 80-year-olds that are in our programs because they want to change the community or change their college or change their neighborhood or change their family. So if you're looking to get into a world of natural health, number one, now is the best time ever, because everyone's looking for you. The desperate need for practitioners is so high. So that is something we really encourage you to do. You can find more at holistichealtheducators.com. You can find links to all of this at ZuZu Unleashed. .com. I don't do a lot on social media yet. I know I'm working on that, but you can find a lot of podcasts at the Facebook ZuZuUnleashed.com. But then Lily Fields is our retreat center. And so we hold retreats here. And the retreats are wonderful. We do a lot with neuro-auto association programming, and then health, learning how to cook, learning how to prepare all these amazing foods. Matter of fact, we just are wrapping up a retreat. One of the attendees who left today is a big influencer, by the way. And she's like, Karen, my husband and I, like, we eat really well. And when we go out, it's bougie restaurants. We only eat at really fancy places. And she's like, this food was the best I've ever eaten in my life. This is incredible. But it is, and there's no meat, no dairy, no grain, and no sugar. Telling you, you just don't know how to make it yet. So there's a lot of great things that happen here at Lily Fields. And we're doing a permaculture. We're teaching permaculture and we're teaching farming, but don't come yet for that because we're still building it out. We just dug our big permaculture pond and we're still in the works. I've only had the property for a few years now, but we are really excited to see where this all takes us. We're just happy to help any way we can.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing everything you did with our listeners. And I just know that you are changing lives every single day.
Thank you, Ms. Holly, for having me. And thank you everyone for tuning in. You are worth it. You are worth the struggle to change. And it won't become a struggle. It'll only be a struggle for 11 days, and then it won't be a struggle.
Thank you so much to ZuZu for sharing her wisdom and passion and unapologetic perspective on healing today. I hope this conversation reminded you that healing is about so much more than just managing symptoms. It's about reclaiming your power, reconnecting to yourself, and remembering that your body is always communicating with you. If this episode resonated with you, remember you don't have to navigate autoimmunity alone. You can find my free daily Thrive Guide and wellness tracker in the show notes, or you can apply for a free health strategy session with me if you're ready to take the next step in your healing journey. And I do have one favor to ask. If you could take just a moment to like and subscribe to this podcast on whichever platform you're listening in on. It makes a huge difference in how far our podcast reaches, and it gets this message to more women that need to hear it. Until next time, take a deep breath, give yourself grace, and keep building your bridge back to health.